Hi guys, I'm Millabout, and today I'm going to be going over how to read chord diagrams for guitar. First things first, you need to know what all the strings are on a guitar in standard tuning, and also a little bit about guitar anatomy. So I'm just going to go over that now. So we have, from the top downwards, E, A, D, G, B, E. There are multiple ways you can remember this. My favourite rhyme is Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. I just find it amusing. But for me personally, when I was learning guitar, one of my friends was learning it at the same time as me, and he just had a bit of a silly sense of humour, and he used to just say "Iajba," and that was how he remembered it, and that really stuck in my head. So that is how I remember it. If I have a mind blank, I just go "Iajba" and then work my way through that. Probably won't work for everyone, but I would suggest just memorising them whether you use a rhyme or not. Okay, so that's standard tuning. Sometimes there are other tunings that you can put your guitar into, for example, open D or open G, and you can read chords in open tunings, but those will usually specify, a chord diagram will specify that it's in an open tuning, and we're not going to be looking at those today. Okay, so now that we know what the strings are, I'm just going to point out these, which are the frets of the guitar. Each fret is a semitone above the previous fret. So as we work our way up, we're going to be playing a semitone higher than the last time. Now we're going to look at some examples of chord diagrams. So first off, we have an E minor chord diagram. So you can see that it's donating all the strings, it's got 6 lines. And these go from left to right, just how you read. And it starts at the lowest string and ends at the highest. So it's going to start E on the left and then go E, A, D, G, B, E towards the right, getting higher as it goes. Okay, so with that in mind, we can now look at these lines, which are donating the frets. So now we know how the strings and frets are being donated, we can start looking at what the chord diagram is actually telling us to do to play an E minor chord. So if you see those 2 black dots that are on the lines, those are telling you where to place your fingers. So we know there's going to be 2 fingers on the strings because there's 2 black dots. And we can see that they're on the 2nd fret and that they are on the A and the D strings. Okay, so if I do that now, brilliant. Okay, so now we know that's where our fingers are going to be. Above the other strings we can see little white circles. And these are just telling us that these strings will be played open. So we're going to strum all the strings, and they will all fit within the E minor chord. So that's how you play an E minor chord on the guitar. Alright, let's move on to another example. Okay, so this one is a C major chord. So we can see that there are 3 fingers because there are 3 black dots. We're going to have our first finger on the 1st fret, on the B string. Our 2nd finger is on the D string on the 2nd fret, and our 3rd finger is on the A string on the 3rd fret. So we've got white circles above the G and high E strings, which tells us that we're going to play these open. But there is a cross above the low E string. And what that means is you're not going to play that. So you're not going to strum that note. So you're just going to strum from the A string downwards. Now, if that cross was in the middle of other strings that we were going to strum, we'd have to mute it with a finger by just lightly touching that string so that it doesn't sound in order to play the chord correctly. So that is a C major chord. Now let's move on to our third example. This is an F chord. So you can see here that there's a line across the top, and this is telling us that it is a bar chord. So this is sometimes denoted in other ways. I'm going to throw some of those up now. Yeah, so it can be denoted with just dots on all the notes, or it could be denoted with a line actually going across the lines, or with, like this first example, above. Now this is saying that you should use your first finger to bar the fret, as shown, and play all those notes at once, all those strings. And then you're going to take your remaining fingers and place them on the remaining strings, as shown on the chord diagram. Here I'm going to take my first finger and I'm going to bar the first fret completely, like it's telling me to on the chord diagram, and then I'm going to take my other three fingers and I'm going to start with my second finger, and I'm going to place it on the G string on the second fret. My third finger and my fourth finger are going to go on the A string and the D string on the third fret, just like this. And that's how they show you how to do a bar chord. Now, if you've not done any bar chords before, this is going to feel quite tricky. It does take a while to learn how to get that finger strength and make sure it's not buzzy, but keep at it because it will come. All right, so now we're going to move on to our final example. And this is a B minor chord. This is a bar chord again, but this chord is on the second fret. And you can see that that is denoted beside the bar with a 2. That's telling us that it's on the second fret. This can be denoted in multiple ways again, so I'm going to pick some of this up here. It might have like a large 2 next to it. Maybe they might number every fret following down so that it's clear that it's starting the second fret, or they might even just write next to it second fret. And that's how we know where to place our bar chords. Okay, so I'm just going to play this B minor now. So I'm going to bar the second fret with my first finger. Now there's a cross above the E string, so I'm not going to play that. And I'm going to take my other three fingers and I'm going to take my second finger and place it on the B string on the third fret. And I'm going to take my third and fourth fingers, and those are going to be placed on the D and G strings on the fourth fret. Brilliant. So that's how you read guitar chord diagrams. Now this is really useful skill because it means that if you're trying to learn a song and you're not sure how to play any of the chords that are in it, you can just look up a chord diagram and figure it out for yourself. Sometimes they might be quite a tricky chord. It might take a while for you to be able to play it without buzzing or to be able to contort your fingers in the right way, but you will always be able to do it if you can read chord diagrams, because they are a very simple way of expressing information. Brilliant. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.